From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
A new airline is coming to the Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport. Coming up, I'll tell you which airline is coming and where services will take you.
Republicans in Helena have passed 4 new anti-abortion bills for the state. What those are and how close the measures are to becoming law, also just ahead. Well, just ahead of 6:30 now on this Friday, Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell with you here. Holly Brantley is off today. A wind continues to blow. Temperature's not terrible out there right now.
No.
But as we always say, it could be worse.
It could be worse. The wind chill's probably the biggest issue for the morning. We do have some mountain snow showers. The afternoon, we're going to combine the cooler temperatures, the stronger wind, and snow. That means we may have some slick conditions in parts of the area. The good news is we're not talking heavy snow across the area as you head into the evening, at least not initially. We'll see some heavier bands trying to develop as you head into the mid-evening. Today, it looks like these temperatures should be into the low 30s, fairly windy, and then for the afternoon, scattered snow showers in time for your evening commute. A lot of these lower elevations may start to see that accumulation right around 4 or 5 o'clock tonight. We'll talk more about what you can expect in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. It is now 6:30. Our top story this half hour, Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport says more low-cost flight services will be available for customers traveling to and from Bozeman. MTN's Gabby Crevitt tells us this major airline company branching out to Montana for the very first time.
If it feels like you've been hearing a lot about more and more flights traveling to and from the Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport, that's because you are. But the airport director says that Thursday's announcement was a significant one for both the airport and the community at large.
Well, we are extremely excited to announce that Southwest Airlines is coming to Montana and that they've chosen Bozeman to be their start point in Montana.
Starting May 27th, there will be 2 Southwest Airlines flights per day to Las Vegas and Denver. And starting June 6th, there will be a total of 4 flights going to Denver on a daily basis. The Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport says one-way fares can cost as low as $39, and customers can start booking online right now.
So we've obviously been discovered. We've announced a number of new services throughout the nation by various carriers, but this single announcement is actually bigger than all of those other announcements combined in terms of departures and seats per week.
Springer says they've been courting Southwest Airlines since 2009.
We kind of had to cross certain thresholds to be interesting to some of these airlines. We're finally at that point where, we've grown. I guess we've grown up. The market has grown, and we've finally reached the point where we're attractive to them for service.
Springer says the new airline service provides more opportunities to travel, and adding additional services can help make prices more competitive, which is good for travelers. Not to mention the new connecting opportunities through Southwest Airlines going both east and west.
It shows the dynamics of our local economy, the things that are happening here in the valley and up at Big Sky. It really, shows that the airlines are noticing.
Reporting at the Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
All right, thank you very much, Gabby. 6:32 now. Montana Governor Greg Gianforte updating state residents on the state's assessment of the COVID-19 pandemic in Montana and vaccine allocations. Gianforte says the outlook of COVID cases in Montana looks very promising right now, with the average daily case count being less than 200 for the first time since September. Governor credited the trend in part to successful vaccination efforts in the state by dedicated healthcare workers, state employees, and volunteers.
Yesterday, data from the CDC showed that Montana had used more than 93% of the doses we've received, the best rate in the country.
Now, however, Gianforte does say there are still many more Montanans who are in need of vaccine doses while the state works on getting back to normal. He again called on the federal government to send more doses to Montana. Staying in the state capitol on a series of straight party line votes, Republicans in the Montana Senate Thursday endorsed a quartet of bills to restrict or further regulate abortion in Montana. That means 3 of the bills are 1 vote away from going to the governor to be signed into law, and a 4th from going to the voters to decide in 2022. MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison has the story.
Each bill passed second reading on the exact same vote. 31 Republicans for, 19 Democrats against, and each time after some compelling emotional debate on both sides. The bills would ban abortions in Montana after 20 weeks of pregnancy, would make it much more difficult to obtain abortion-inducing prescription drugs in the state, including a ban on distributing them on college campuses, and require physicians to offer women requesting an abortion the chance to see an ultrasound of the fetus and hear its heartbeat. The fourth bill puts a referendum before Montana voters next year on whether to declare babies born alive during an abortion to be a legally protected person. Democratic Senator Dianne Sands of Missoula said the ultrasound bill is not, like the supporters claimed, about providing more information to women.
It's about intimidating women to see if you can force them to change their decision. I spent a lot of time in my earlier years working with victims of rape and sexual assault. I cannot imagine a crueler comment forced by a physician to say to a woman who has already made the decision to terminate a pregnancy, to say, wouldn't you like to hear the heartbeat of this fetus that was conceived because of a rape?
And Senator Jen Gross of Billings said it's clear what supporters of the bills are trying to do.
Every one of the four bills we heard today are really about an agenda with a single objective: to completely make inaccessible and illegal all abortion in the state of Montana.
Democratic Senator Shane Morgeau of Missoula also said the measures violate Montana's strong privacy rights and will surely be challenged in court and likely lose. But supporters said it's not a legal argument, but a moral one about protecting human life.
There is nothing more precious than an unborn baby and a born baby. In Matthew, Jesus said, whoever causes one of these little ones to be hurt, it would be better for them to have a millstone hung around their head and drowned in the sea.
This is not about politicians playing medicine or practicing doctor. This is about human beings looking out for human beings. And that's a good thing to do.
The first three bills face a final binding vote in the Senate and then go to Governor Greg Gianforte, who has strongly indicated he intends to sign them. After that, a court challenge is likely. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Now, the fourth bill does not go to the governor for his signature because it's a referendum that will go directly to Montana voters on the 2022 ballot. In other headlines, the latest stimulus proposal that includes another round of direct payments to millions of Americans has some worried checks will be going out to Americans who don't need them, and that money won't help the economy. Alicia Nieves shares a few examples that may prove otherwise.
More than 85% of American households have received a stimulus check during this pandemic. And it's true, not everyone needed or used the money to survive.
I'm a teacher at the Milton Hershey School in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Matthew Pierce teaches African American history and civics at the Pennsylvania Free Boarding School for students whose families struggle financially. He used both of his stimulus checks to buy food for his students.
To forego paying a bill or forego something else that money could be utilized for, that's an easy decision for me to make. It'd be far harder for me to know that I utilized it for something I needed while one of the students I know was in need and didn't have food that day.
Mr. Pierce purchased more than 40 Uber Eats gift cards for students who had to return home during the pandemic to financially tough circumstances. He sent the gift cards throughout the year with a note of encouragement attached.
So some people I gave more encouraging statements because I knew their situation more closely. But it really meant a lot because I know that day, at that time, those students and their family are going to be able to buy themselves a good meal.
I just want as many people as can to make it out of this pandemic.
Dana Kennedy, a nonprofit worker in Colorado, also chose not to use her stimulus money for herself.
I gave it to people who I know directly who need more financial resources. I gave some of it to a mutual aid organization that is supporting people directly in Denver where I live who need money to pay for things like their rent, to get their car fixed.
She used the rest of her check to donate to her local food bank. The nonprofit worker from Colorado and the teacher from Pennsylvania are just two of countless people around the country who have donated their stimulus checks. Many are posting about it on social media using the hashtag #ShareMyCheck or hashtag #PayItForward, hoping to inspire others.
Someone asked me, and I think this explained it best, why I don't start some national campaign for this sort of thing and open up a GoFundMe. And my response is simply, what we need right now is for everyone to find where they are best able to meet the need in their community. That if we are all giving our community, then everyone needs to get met.
Mr. Pearson Kennedy plans to donate their next stimulus check as well to show the money, one way or another, will go to those suffering the most during this pandemic. I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
6:39, absolutely nothing wrong with that. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. Parents will soon get to exercise a little more control over what their children can access on YouTube. How that will work, coming up. But first, let's check in with Anthony Mason to see what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, the latest on the U.S. airstrikes in Syria. We'll explain why President Biden's first military action is meant to send a message to Iran. Also, there's growing outrage after a rise in attacks against Asian Americans. Hear from those affected by the violence and what many say needs to happen to stop the increase in hate crimes. And only on CBS This Morning, country stars Kelsey Ballerini and brothers Osborne join us to reveal some of the nominees for the 56th Academy of Country Music Awards. All that coming up when we see you at 7.